in this episode.
So in Division I, there are 3,521 scholarships available.
Sure, if you do that math that way, yeah.
That's a pretty good opportunity. Like,
There's a lot of opportunity.
I just have to be in one of the 3,000.
Good, yeah.
We're starting to see the sentiment, which is kind of worrisome, is that guys are settling and not pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
That's a loser's mentality. I hate that mentality.
Yeah. I do want high school players who are aspiring to go onto the collegiate level to know that it is hard. It's not a deterrent, but you better know how hard you have to work.
Anything that's an obstacle is worth pursuing.
Correct.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of The Closing Pitch. My name is Spiker Helms, and this is a show about people, culture, and how to create a winning lifestyle. You know, the most annoying thing is when you can't find your AirPods and like you are worried that they're in a pant pocket and you don't know if that pant has made its way into the washing machine.
I'm not worried. You know why?
Because your AirPods...
Mine have survived two such situations.
You have the most durable AirPods known to man.
2 times they have gone through the wash and they are still rocking and rolling.
I'm on my second pair and it's like this annoying, gnawing feeling in the back of my brain, knowing that they could not be alive right now.
They might not be. Sorry.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about college. Talking about college numbers. Dave did some big research on this, on just percentages, numbers. This is going to be a total baseball podcast, recruiting podcast. Just more information, and just what we found was very interesting. And I think that a lot of the perceptions that you guys might have on college baseball will probably be changed, and you might be thinking a little bit differently. Now, I can't guarantee you it's going to be a positive feeling or a negative feeling, but I think that it will switch how your thoughts are on the whole situation.
Yeah. So a little backstory to this. So I don't know. We have, just a bunch of conversations, and whether it's with, parents or players or just internally with our staff, and, whether it's guys who've played for our program and are currently in college, and maybe some are having success and some are figuring out that it's really hard to play, or it's high school guys that are early on in the process and they think that the college baseball is their oyster and they can play anywhere they want, and we're going to go to Texas A&M. That's where I'm going to go. Or we're going to play at Ole Miss or this or that. Or maybe it's a guy thinking it's so hard to get there or whatnot. I don't know.
Which, hold on, before we start, I think that's perfectly fine.
They all work.
I know. We're starting to see the sentiment, which is kind of worrisome, is that guys are settling and not pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
I would rather have a person that looks me dead in the eye and they're talented enough and say, like, no, you're wrong, I can go play Division I baseball. Like, I would rather have that guy. I'd rather have, instead of the guy that's like settling for, you know what, I might just call it good and not play because of the percentages. And I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to be there. That's a loser's mentality. I hate that mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, I literally, I think that a lot of times too, there's a lot of misconceptions that get thrown around by people that don't necessarily know 100% of what they're talking about, but they sure make it seem like they're 100% confident and correct. And that's whether it's players talking to players and they're like, oh, I heard Bobby got 100% full ride to this, or, a parent to another parent saying, oh, he's got 37 offers right now. No, that's what happens. Well, maybe he's got 37 letters in the mail. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. So where my brain generally goes in that situation, I'm like, well, how can I get some data out there to create a conversation where players, where parents literally kind of understand the path to college baseball, where the opportunities lie in college baseball, how special it is that if you're in college baseball right now, no matter what your situation is, how special it is that you're being able to don and wear that uniform. I mean, there's a lot of things that I kind of wanted to cover in this. So I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to, numbers, which is ironic because I was the absolute worst person in math growing up and hated it. Couldn't stand it, did terrible in it, and anyone around me would say so. But now I kind of like it. I like diving into it, and I feel like sometimes when you look down into the numbers, it creates a picture for you. So I created some graphics. I kind of went down, and some of this stuff I just literally wanted to know. Some of this stuff I already kind of knew, but wanted to put it out in like clear context. This is how it's represented. And you just want me to kind of jump in and start with it? It's fine.
Hit the big number really quick. I think that's extremely important to have like a base of where we are.
So let's talk about the landscape. So let's paint a picture. You are a family, a player in high school who has aspirations of playing at the next level. And I got them all right here. And you are looking at college baseball and seeing so much opportunity, which there's a ton, right? But you don't necessarily know all the levels. You don't know where that opportunity is. So first I started digging in. How many college baseball teams are there? And before you saw the graphic and the number, how many would you have thought across all the levels? If you had to guess, because I was off on this.
I always thought that there was a lot of opportunity at the Division I level for whatever reason, and I thought there were more schools than what is listed. I thought there was like more 500, 600 D1 programs. But in junior college, I felt like there was just a junior college in everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it was just, I thought that was more like 1,000.
Yeah.
And then Division II, I thought was very low.
Yeah.
Which was interesting seeing that. I thought Division II is probably in that like 150 to 250 range.
Uh-huh.
D3, I thought there was a crap ton of those, but same thing. There's not.
Yep.
So I thought D3 was in like the 400, 500 range.
Yep.
And then NAIA I thought was always small because it's never talked about.
Well, and honestly, I mean, if you ask I bet you ask 80% of high school baseball players, name me colleges. They're pretty much going to only name you D1s, and if they name you anything else, it's because it's a local school that they've somehow driven past.
First off, before we start into this, like, think about the D1 schools because they know the name brand.
It's on TV.
Yeah, that's the name brand. If you didn't know what that school was, would you really care?
Right.
There's a lot of D1s that are so obscure that you probably never heard of.
Right.
And you're like, oh, that's a D1 program. Well, it has a D1 brand because I've heard of D1, so I want to go there.
Right. So I went ahead on this thing called Google, and I defined it. So
is that kind of like Chat GPT?
No, we're not going down this stretch.
Is this like a new technology? Is it the same thing, or is it different?
No, it is a search engine.
Same, but different. Have you seen that movie? No. Where it's, they're in North Korea. It's Franco and...
Yeah, it's the interview or something
like that. He's talking to the North Koreans and he goes, we're all the same, but different, but also the same.
Back to the numbers. Here's how they're defined, okay? And this is across the NCAA, the different levels of that, the NAIA, and the junior college ranks. So in the NCAA, there are 3 divisions. There is Division I baseball, and there are 301 Division I baseball programs currently operating. Then there's Division II, which is a slightly lower level, still really great baseball, and there are 274 programs operating, so slightly less than Division I. And then there's Division III. That is actually where there's the most opportunity to play, and there is 389 programs at the Division III level. Now, that just encapsulates the NCAA. That is a governing body, okay? Then there's a different governing body called the NAIA, the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics.
Based in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, and it actually, a little side note, little cool fun fact, the NAIA used to be way bigger than the NCAA. That used to kind of encapsulate everything before the NCAA was started. The NAIA has 212 teams in it, and they have a different different rules, different governing body, different system.
Different playoff format.
Yep, everything. Right? Different rosters, different scholarship opportunities, which we'll get into. And then there's junior college athletics, the NJCAA. And that is broken up into 3 levels as well. There are Division I junior colleges, and there are 271 of those. And these are all 2-year colleges, guys. There are Division II junior colleges, and there's 118. And then there's Division III junior colleges, and there's 98. Now, I did get a question on my Twitter post, and I did forget to add this in, but I also then looked it up, and I really couldn't find those numbers. California has their own entire junior college system. I couldn't find the numbers on that. I would probably wager there's probably 150 to 200 in California. But
Do you
anyhow,
know what's the difference? That's going to be the first question. What's the difference between Division I, Division II, Division III
in junior college?
College?
So it's scholarship opportunities and things like that, which I'll get into. And I think there's some different like housing requirements, and probably has to do with student population, much like Division I, II, and III in the NCAA. But I don't have all those rules in front of me. I just know there's separate ones.
Yep. And kind of how I thought about it when getting recruited was it was the 2 years versus the 4 years. Mm-hmm. That's how I viewed it. I separated out all the divisions, didn't care about the divisions. I just cared about difference between a 2-year path and a 4-year path. And the 2-year path made a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. And you had these name brands inside of the 2-year path where you're like, oh, that's Sanjak. Oh, that's Howard. Yep. Oh, that's Crowder. Jeffco. Oh my gosh. Those guys are big name guys.
And what's interesting with all these was you can play in one and then go to another in baseball. You can start out in a junior college, end up in an NCAA establishment. You can start at NAIA and go back to junior college and end up in the NCAA. Like and I believe it's this way. I mean, it's 1 year of your athletic eligibility. Thank you. Is used in any of those. So it all counts. It all counts the same. But anyhow, that brought me to a total of 1,613 baseball programs that you get to choose from, or that you have an opportunity to play at the next level, which I thought was really cool. I actually thought there was more. I don't know about you. I thought there was more out there.
That's still a lot of schools.
That's a lot of schools.
That's a lot of programs.
So then I wanted to break it down. Okay, I wanted to break it down into even smaller numbers. Okay, now I was thinking about it this way. So how many players actually get to play college baseball? And there's a famous phrase, and in my Twitter post I also got this question, but the phrase is 7% of all high school baseball athletes get the opportunity to play at the next level. And I did a little research. I couldn't find any distinct, like Aspen Institute did a study or something like that. I couldn't find any studies that verified that, but I saw like 20 sources all using it. So I went with it, okay? So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that is kind of the standard at which is put out there.
Yeah, so that is faulty. That could be a wrong.
It could be.
Could be wrong.
But let's go with it because it sounds about right. I mean, it's not out there where it's like 25% because we know that's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not out there where it's like 2% and we know that's wrong.
Because you had roughly how many players in high school? There's almost 1 million.
Well, here's the math. So I still can do a little math in my old age. 7%, I'd kind of reverse this out. I assumed that a average college roster, and I talked with Pratt on this, and we both play college baseball. I just assumed that an average college roster was at 40 players. Okay? So 1,613 teams times 40 players gave me the answer of 64,520 players are currently in collegiate baseball playing. Okay? And so I backed that out and I said, okay, so what would that be 7% of? So that got me to the number of 921,714 current high school players right now are getting ready to start their spring season. Sounded about right. Slightly less than 1 million? That sounds about right. I mean, I just think about St. Louis right here and probably 20,000 players in one area. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just kind of do the math, right? So anyhow, then I started to break it down even more because I want to know, all right, so let's think about, now I'm thinking about the college player. All right, you're in a college situation. maybe you're the starting third baseman. What type of, like, it doesn't matter if you're at any of these different institutional levels, how special is that to be that, right? How hard do you have to work to be that guy, right? Let alone be one of the 7% to actually get to wear the uniform. So I broke it down. So
These numbers are going to be a lot better for you, though. By the way, I just looked up the core participation in select sports for 13 years old to 17 years old. So like, it's going to hit your number. So this does include 13-year-olds. That does not 13 and 14-year-olds. That does not include. They're not in high school, obviously, but they have in 2022 Project Play participation rate. You had 1.9 million kids
at 13?
At 13 through 17.
Oh, okay.
So roughly you have.
So you lose about 1 million kids from that, right?
So well,
you're just talking.
Your number was 970 what?
921,700.
Yeah, so you're there.
Yeah.
I mean, just assuming.
Well, you lose a lot of kids from 13, 14 to 15.
Yeah. So I'm assuming
that makes all the sense in the world. I bet you probably do lose about 1 million kids from 13 to 15 U baseball.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to break it down a little bit. So, on any given roster, you cannot have every single person showing up ready, active to play. In the NCAA, there are rules with that. I don't know the rules, particularly in NAI and junior college, but normally institutions don't want to travel the entire roster. They can't afford it. So the number in the NCAA, which I went with, is that you can have 28 active players. So those players are not redshirted. They're not injured. They're the ones traveling when they go out of town. And that number brought me to there's 45,164 of those athletes. Then I wanted to break it down even more.
So you have 45,000 spots open
to actually have
to
a
be
chance
a starter.
to play.
To be a starter.
Not to be a starter, to have a chance.
So to be in the dugout, actively participating.
To have an opportunity to see your name on that lineup board. Okay?
Okay.
Then I broke it down to the 8 starters. Okay? The 8 positional starters in the field. There's only 12,904 of those.
So almost 13,000 players from the high school age group, which was 21,000.
Only 12,900 of those are going to be starting players.
They're going to start at the collegiate level.
Then I broke it down to this. What if you're a starting pitcher? It's only 8,000 of those guys, 8,065. Then I broke it down to the relief pitchers, 16,130 of those. There's 5 main outfielders normally on a roster. There's only 8,000 of those guys. 3 main catchers, even more heir apparent. There's only 4,800 of those. So you start doing the math, right? And I did middle infielders and catchers or corner infielders too.
So your best chance to get on the field is be a relief pitcher.
Everybody go be a relief
So
guy.
is this podcast to promote relief pitching?
Figured me out. No, the point is that I think a lot of players that are looking at this, there's 2 points, and then I went down the route, and I'll finish this with the athletic money side of it too. There's 2 points that I wanted to make from this, okay? And I made it really clear. I do want high school players who are aspiring to go onto the collegiate level to know that it is hard. It's not a deterrent, but you better know how hard you have to work.
Anything that's an obstacle is worth pursuing.
Correct. And I've never not seen a guy who put in the effort not get an opportunity. That is 100% fact. But I don't want you going into this thinking that it's a given or thinking that you're deserving of it without putting in the effort or to think that it's just going to be given. I said that already. But you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay? I want you to understand that you have to put in a ton of effort, which is a good thing because that's going to then end up preparing you for that level. Okay? And then the second thing is that I was talking to the college athlete with this post too, that if you're there, because we have a lot of freshmen that are just getting into their experience and whether they're on the field or not, or, okay, and sometimes even the guys who are committed right now as seniors and you're committed to a Division II level or a junior college level, or maybe you're the D1 guy. You're in very exclusive territory. It is very special to be a collegiate athlete. And that's not in just baseball, that's in anything. And that is something that you should reflect upon in terms of your effort that got you there. And you should look back and be proud of that. And now, yes, you have even more work to become in even more special territory, right? If you actually want to get on the field, that's a whole different level. If you actually want to be a starter, that's a whole different level. So that's kind of why I started that post, is to just put it into a numbers perspective, because people can see numbers. People can see that and now understand, whoa, that's tough.
There was a post that I created a really long time ago, and then some account tagged us back into it, and I'm trying to find it, and just very thankful. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, it's not there anymore. Gosh darn it. So the post basically said like how much time frame you have left from when you enter into high school.
Oh, you made a video on it.
Yeah, like,
I
so
remember that.
you go from how many days you have until you reach the end of your senior year. I want to find that, but it's going to take me a while. I'll probably repost it on our Instagram, but it's just a good reference point. Like,
it was again a perspective.
Yeah, like knowing these numbers is helping you realize the magnitude of what you want to accomplish. And again, this is not a deterrent. You're going to take this one or two ways, and the way that you take it's going to really define if you're a real competitor or you're not a real competitor, which is fine. If you don't want to compete for it, go do something else and be really good at that. But you do have to understand competition, because that is life. And you're going to take this either man, that's awesome. I want to be a part of that. I want to be one of the top dogs. I want to be known as like, I played college baseball. Or B, you're going to be like, you know what? That's too tough. The numbers are just not in my favor, and I'm just not good enough.
It's too tall of a mountain.
It's too tall of a mountain. I'm only like 5'8", 5'6". So like, no one's going to, just pack it up. Let's go home.
Yep.
I was the A, and I was undersized, and I had to believe that I played like I was 6'4", and there was a lot of mental struggles, a lot of anxiety, but it made me stronger. And I think anything in life that is an obstacle is always worth pursuing. And that's not my quote, that's Ryan Holiday's quote, but it definitely defined my career. Was, this is an obstacle. I'm going to go take it.
Right. No, and that's the point of this. That was because it will go two ways, and that's okay. There will be people who listen to this podcast and they're like, it's impossible. It is absolutely impossible for me to do this. Maybe you were never meant to do this.
It's the same thing with playing professional sports. Like, you have a better chance of winning the lottery.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's worth pursuing.
Right.
It's not a chance. Like the lottery and professional sports are not a one-to-one comparison. The lottery is that you're hoping that you're going to win. In professional sports, you actually have somewhat control of how you try to pursue that.
Right.
And you can put in time, put in effort, and the skills that you develop along the way, you can then apply to something else in your life that is another mountain that you're going to have to tackle.
Exactly.
No matter what mountain.
There's always mountains.
Yeah, like when you're walking.
You're
and
just
like,
choosing which one.
Yeah, it's like, which mountain do I want to tackle? It's your choice.
Yep.
Like, do you want to be the best lawyer in the universe? Then that's a big ass mountain.
Yep.
It's not going to come easy. Anything that is worth pursuing is not going to come easy at all.
100%. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to dive into was, then I started thinking, okay, I have all these numbers that I've now put together that gave me a rough estimate of how many players are out there and how many teams are out there. And the last thing that I kind of created was, because, and I prefaced this at the start of our conversation, there's a lot of misconceptions on the scholarship side of things at the baseball level, okay, of collegiate sports. Note, guys, this isn't football, okay? In football, there are a lot of players get full rides.
I will say this: if you're in it for the money and trying to get scholarship money, you're gonna fail.
Right. And we're going to just talk about athletic scholarship. We're not talking about academic. We're not talking about grants. We're not talking about anything else that can either be earned or applied for outside of the field. This is just athletic money. But I do feel like there's a lot of questions that get associated because there's a lot of things that get thrown around. Because you hear it all the time. I got a 100% athletic scholarship. That's not true. That doesn't happen in baseball. And you hear that all the time. And then, anyhow, I broke it down this way, okay? And here's a little breakdown in terms of what a program can actually offer in terms of scholarship amounts, okay? So let's keep in mind a couple key statistics. I basically said there's roughly 40 players on each roster, okay, at any given time. Now, at certain levels, there's only a certain amount of those players that can get athletic money. Like at the Division I level, that is only 27 players can get athletic scholarships. At the Division II level,
So they can only offer 27 players.
of those 40 can only divvy up.
So basically, an active roster.
There are a lot of players that are not even able to get offered. Now,
Okay.
Division II,
So hold on. So there's 301 Division I programs.
yeah.
Times 11.7.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that. So let's break this down at these levels. At the NCAA level, the Division I teams can, and I preface this with, if the institution provides this, now most Division I's do, they can give out 11.7 full scholarships across the entire team. Now, we did some numbers on that, right? There's only 27 of those guys that can get that. That's not everyone's on a full ride, guys. And that's at the most fully funded universities in the country. Not everyone's on a full ride. In fact, math says not everyone's even on a half ride, if you want to do the average, of an athletic scholarship.
Now, they could be on a full ride if they have academic money that is.
Tacked on and stacked on, and that makes you a stackable athlete, which we can talk about in a different topic. And there's some guys that are getting none. Cool. Division II. This is where it gets real tricky. They are only allotted by the NCAA rules 9 full scholarships
For 27 dudes.
for up to at Division II, they can spread that across the entire roster, whatever they want.
Wait, so Division I can only do it for 27
Yep.
guys, and
Yep.
Division II can do it for the full.
If they want. There's probably minimum amounts that you're allowed to do it. It's not like I can give you a 7% athletic scholarship. It's probably like 25 or a quarter, if I had to guess. I didn't look that up, but they can give it to as many people. There's no requirements on that, okay? But there's a lot of Division IIs that the institution will not fund you the entire 9, that program.
Oh, so they might give you like 5.
I've known institutions that give 2. I know institutions that give 4. Some will fully fund. It's whatever they decide that fits in their budget scheme. So anyhow, that's how that works. Division III, 0. No athletic money, period. It all works through athletic or academics and grants.
Which technically they could have then more scholarships than Division II and Division I.
To be quite honest, at the Division III level, there's a lot more creativity with how they pass out scholarship money. And a lot of times you can end up getting more than what you would be afforded in an athletic scholarship at a higher level. A lot of times. It has to do with like university endowments and things of that nature. And there's a lot of money that gets thrown out in different ways. It's okay, you're not getting an athletic money, but you're getting this money. And who cares? It's money.
So
right?
don't think if a Division III comes to you, you're not going to get a scholarship.
Exactly. Then NAIA, you get 12 scholarships per team. The junior college level, now get this, that is quite a bit cheaper tuition-wise than what a 4-year university would be. Sometimes it's 4 to 5 times cheaper to go to that school.
Plus, if you have like government subsidizing that for
Right,
you, like
right.
like in Missouri, we have the A+ program.
Correct.
I'm sure in other states they have the same thing.
Right. But junior college Division I, they can give out 24 scholarships for the team. It's a lot of dudes getting full rides there. Okay. D2 junior college, 24, D3, 0. Okay. So I went to the old calculator and I did it this way.
Is that similar to Chat GPT?
You stop it. There are 7 institutional levels that I laid out here: NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3, NAI and Junior College Division 1, 2, and 3. If we assume that there are 40 players active on each one of those rosters, that gives us 280 players' academic tuitions to get taken care of. Okay?
Wait. So repeat that again. Sorry. So
40 players on each roster.
40
on average,
players on each roster
times 7 different institutions. Okay? Get it?
Yeah.
That gets you 280 potential scholarship opportunities to get taken care of.
Okay.
Okay? Academic tuitions to get taken care of. Okay?
Got it.
We added up all the potential scholarship opportunities from an athletic stance, and that was the 11.7, the 9, the 12, the 24, and the 24, and then the 2 zeros. That gave us 80.7 full scholarships will be provided to those 280 players. And if you do the math on that accounts for only 28.8% of all tuition is covered by athletic scholarship money in baseball in college.
So technically, if I get anything above 28%,
You're above the average. That's the average.
I'm doing pretty well.
That's kind of a shock to me when I put that together. You know, that only in football, I'm sure that number's sky higher, way higher. There's a lot of tuition money being paid, assuming you're not on any academic or grant money. There's a lot of tuition money being paid by baseball players.
So in Division 1, there are 3,521 scholarships available.
Sure, if you do that math that way, yeah.
That's a pretty good opportunity. Like
There's a lot of opportunity.
I just have to be in one of the 3,000.
Good, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But it puts you into perspective that this is not a sport where if you get any money at all athletic, consider yourself like that's a golden ticket. That's Willy Wonka's golden ticket here. Okay? Because if you back it out to the 921,000 high school guys that are playing this right now, and you're one of those dudes who gets an athletic scholarship opportunity at any of these levels, be thankful. Because there's not much of that going around. And quite frankly, the 28.8% that I came up with, that's on if every institution in all 7 of those levels fully funds their program.
That's true. That's a really good point.
And my guess is
it's not.
Well, I know for a fact
because
it's
of
not.
budgets and everything like travel.
I know for
and,
a fact
yeah,
it's not.
Some programs are basically duct taping it together and hopefully putting something out there.
Some programs are on NCAA sanctions. They get their scholarship amounts taken away.
Yeah.
The players get the penalty, right?
Yeah.
So that number very well might be like 23.
And this doesn't include NIL deals, which again, baseball players, you're not there yet.
No.
You're almost there. Some schools are tasting it right now, but you're not there. So don't think oh, what about the NIL? If you're not the top 1% players, consider that a non-go. You're still living in the old system. Go for the academic money. Go for the athletic scholarship.
So again, we look at this in 2 ways. This can either look at it like, why would I ever even do this? Why would I go try for that? I'm not going to have to pay for school and play. Like, what are we doing? Or other people are going to look at it as like, wow, dude, I'm going to work my ass off to be that guy who gets that opportunity.
Because it is special.
It's very special.
To describe college baseball is so hard. It's nothing like high school at all.
No.
It's not even close. College baseball, in my opinion, is the mecca besides Major League Baseball. Minor League Baseball is okay. I didn't play in affiliated baseball, so I can't really speak on that. But I was a lot more impressed with the college game than the professional game.
Yeah, well, from life experiences for sure. And I didn't play any sort of professional baseball, but I know a lot of guys who did, and I think they're going to look back at their college days in a more fond time for the most part, not all, but for the most part, than they probably did with their minor league ball. You'll make lifelong friends, memories, experiences. Like, you're in a very impressionable state in your life. You're 18 years old to 23, 24, and it's wild times, and there's a lot of fun. And I made a comment today because Division I baseball kicks off today. This is February 17th. You're not going to listen to this on February 17th, but and I was thinking back to my opening days, and I was like, dude, there's just a different feel to it. It was like there's butterflies in your stomach. There was just an excitement playing catch, and you're on a field, and you're about to go to battle and compete, and like that is worth all that work. That is worth it. I'll never forget that feeling. And I was a starting pitcher that never opened up on an opening day. I never got the ball on an opening day. I was always like the third or fourth pitcher of the weekend. And I still had that feeling. Like, that feeling was different than even when I got my turn.
Well, what's really cool about college too is that everyone keeps in touch, like, with the different levels. Yeah. I remember at Missouri State, I would keep in touch with like guys that were in the Division II level, NAIA, because you play with those guys in the summer, and then you want to see those programs succeed because it's your guys on those teams, and so you start realizing like everyone is connected in college baseball.
And I'll tell you this, one thing that's cool about all these numbers and what it does is when you get into that club, you kind of know, like, you're like, oh man, this is pretty sweet. I get to say I'm a college athlete. I get to tell people, I'm playing college baseball, and I've made it to a level that not a lot of people make it to.
And then when you're an impact player on a team, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And again, it's, you're not the quarterback at Ohio State, but it's pretty freaking special. It's pretty cool. There's a lot to it. So that's the basis on this stuff. I mean, you can define everything by numbers. That's the beautiful thing about math. That's the beautiful thing about changing perspective. There's numbers out there. If you want to dig and find it, you can figure it out. And it'll really, I hope that it changes perspective of people. That was the intent behind the research. That was the intent, and there's curiosity behind that research too, because I wanted to know. And I've been in this now for 13 plus years as a program director and coach, and I had a long time of playing my way up into college and playing in college. So if I don't know it, I assume that there's a lot of people that don't know it. And so hopefully it helped change perspective.
That's really cool. I actually enjoyed hearing those numbers because you don't realize what a big feat that is. And you also hear like players when they get offered by some schools, they kind of like ghost them.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're ghosting that dude, but Ole Miss is ghosting you. Why are you why are you doing the same treatment that Ole Miss is doing to you?
Man, and now a lot of days, like nowadays, and we've talked about this topic a ton with the transfer portal and the opportunities, and that was another question that got asked of me after I posted it. A guy had a great couple sets of questions. He was like, do you think that 7% has changed? And I go, it's a great question. Maybe. It might have declined a little bit with the portal and more players just not giving up on college baseball because they're not playing. Now they're just finding another spot. And so maybe that's lessened the opportunity for high school athletes. I don't know.
That would get you excited, though. If there's more supply of players and you're competing, it's like CrossFit. That's how I view it. CrossFit has so many different athletes. There's so many different gyms. And you being able to make a regional in CrossFit is a big freaking deal. And then you making it to the national stage and winning the whole dang thing, that's worth pursuing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to pursue something and that's like
super easy and everybody can do it.
50% of the people do it.
Yeah.
Like it'd be cool if I want it, but it's not like the bee's knees.
No, it's not an accomplishment worth talking about. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, you want it, if it's worth doing, if it's hard to do, it's worth doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like look at the films back in the 1920s, 1930s when you see like those baseball players that are playing pro ball.
Yeah.
It's laughable. Come on, it's laughable. Yeah. Like Babe Ruth could not play in this game right now. There's no way.
Yeah.
Unless
now you're stirring up a whole nother topic, so
there's no way that dude plays in Major League Baseball right now. Those guys are so good. I was thinking about this today, is that the Division I guys, and maybe it's just because I'm not training and competing, I'm like, gosh dang,
It's a
like
crazy brand. Of
I don't
baseball,
know
man.
if I could like play in this era right now.
It's never been better. I mean,
It's just nuts.
yeah,
It is nuts how good these guys are.
which is cool for the game to see that.
It's really cool.
Yeah, which again, it just makes it even more special, and that was the intent. It makes it even more special if you get to participate in it. So.
Guys, that's this episode of The Closing Pitch. Please give us a review, 5 stars preferably. You can review it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also please comment and give us the like button on YouTube. That helps us get seen by more people. Also, you can see you already listened to this whole show, so I don't even know why I'm saying this, but you can look at the timestamps. They're down below, so you already listened to it. Maybe if you want to go back, you can listen to a certain segment that you're like, man, Dave sound really good, or man, what is this Chat GPT? You can always go back and look at those timestamps. But until next time, we will catch you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.